All right, so I'm here with Jared today, and we the first video we've done together in a while. We last did the MLB predictions, I think back in 2020 or 2021, one of the two.
Something like
And
that, yeah.
yeah, and then yeah, so it's my first video I've actually done in a while. I just basically almost done with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, 2022. I'll have that video up maybe before this. I don't know. That final video of that. But we're here today with Jared, and what we're going to discuss is the Penguins' future moving forward, and basically their season overall, what we think, and then with the playoffs going on for that, we're going to discuss our
Yeah.
thoughts on the bracket and who we think is going to end up winning this thing. So, um, anything you
And
want to?
about sorry about that. And about the playoffs, we're gonna review the first round. We tried to get this done before the first round started at all, but we didn't have time. We didn't, our schedules, you know, it interlapsed, so it didn't really work out. So we're just gonna review the first round and then make our predictions for the rest of the playoffs.
Right,
That's how
right.
we're gonna do it, and then we're gonna talk about other stuff.
Okay,
So
for sure.
it should work out like that. Um, like he said, we haven't done this in years, so we're gonna try to get it out. It may not be good quality, but hey, at least we're trying, right?
Hey, we're doing our thing out here, man.
Exactly.
All right, so
It's been a minute.
I'll let you go first, man. See what some talk about some um what you thought of the season. I mean, you here's another thing too. Like I've recently gotten into NHL a lot more than what I was in like past years, probably within like the last couple of years, and just hockey
Yeah,
in general.
yeah,
I'm gonna do my best to talk up to Jared's, speed here. But
yeah.
I've so I'll let him go first, kind of say what he thinks about the Penguins season and what he kind of thinks down the road for them.
All right. Well, first of all, I think that it's it's really heartbreaking that they did make the playoffs for the 17th straight year. I mean, I think the whole part of it being that they're really old and that they have just skill and no like grit really makes them bad. They had a horrible season. They had their ups, yeah, but they also had more downs than their ups. And it's like they're very inconsistent with what they do and what they want. And I don't know what Hextall was doing. I don't know what Hextall and Brian Burke were doing
Are they
because
the
they didn't
coaches?
make
Are
a
they the
team
coaches?
where no, Brian Burke was the principal, or I'm sorry, the principal was the team principal, and then Ron Hextall was the GM.
Okay,
They
okay.
both were fired, and the assistant GM was fired. So the Penguins, I think, a few days before the playoffs, cleaned house. They cleaned out everyone except a couple of the trainers, the assistant coaches, and Mike Sullivan. Which that's another person I want to talk about.
I,
Mike
I'm
Sullivan
curious to
should
think about
not
him as
still be
well.
there.
Yeah, for sure.
He should not still be there because the play that they okay, let me tell you this. The play that they played, the type of game that they played back when they won the cup is not how they play now. You can't you can't okay, the definition of insanity is doing something over and over again and expecting different results, correct? That's what the fuck excuse my language.
You're
That's what Mike Sullivan is about. He's basically clinically insane because he keeps doing the same thing over and over and over. He keeps doing the same what is it? He keeps having the same agenda over and over, and he thinks it's gonna work. Obviously, this year it didn't work. It didn't work at all. And I think Ron Hextall had that same mindset. I don't know what it is about any of the Pittsburgh sports teams and their owners, or whatever, but they seem to be really brain dead because they make
I
stupid
mean, Rooney's
decisions.
good for the Steelers. I mean, Rooney does his thing. He's always been like, you know, pretty high up in
Yeah,
things. But
I think real quick, since you wanted to before we started recording, you wanted to talk about the Steelers real quick. With you saying that, I think Omar Khan has really made a difference.
oh
Omar
yeah,
Khan
no,
made some really
Rooney
good
did a
draft
good
picks.
job getting him there for sure. I agree.
Oh yeah, definitely,
Um,
man.
but yeah, yeah, go ahead and continue there. You're good.
But yeah, it's about having consistency, and they don't have consistency because you got guys like Carter who doesn't score much, but he also doesn't throw his body around. He'll try to score, but he won't. And then they picked up Mikael Granlund, who didn't really do anything but win some faceoffs for them. So he contributed nothing. He doesn't fit in. Excuse me. Um, Also, they picked up who was it that they picked up? They picked up Nick Bonino. That I like. I like the Nick Bonino pickup because not only does he know the system, but he's used to it. He knows the guys there. He knows most of the guys there. He knows Rust. He knows Letang. He knows Malkin. He knows Gensel. So it's like bringing a family member back into the family that you
And he
haven't
was there
seen
when
for
they won
years.
the championship, right?
Yeah, he was there when they won both championships, when they won
Yeah.
the back to back in 2016-17.
Mhm.
But when we lost him, we lost a good face-off man. And now that we have him back, probably just for that, because I don't think we're going to re-sign him honestly. Because I believe he's a free agent. Let me look here. I believe he's a
He
free
is. I
agent
think he
again.
is. Yeah. I'm almost positive he is.
Yes, he's an unrestricted free agent.
Definitely
So
like to resign him on like a cheap deal, you know.
yeah. With that being said, I don't think they're going to re-sign him. The simple fact that one, we don't know. I don't know who the new GM is because they've already made moves. Supposedly, and I've heard this from a couple different sources. Jason Zucker has resigned. I don't know about
I,
that
I
one.
I like that. I mean, he's a little older, but he's a dog in my opinion.
Yeah, Jason Zucker actually had a good season. Probably the best season he's had. Definitely the best season he's had with the Penguins. Probably the best of his career.
Mhm.
I can look up his stats. I mean, I have all
He
the
had like
stuff
I,
here.
he had a lot of goals. I know that.
Yeah, he had about 20, I want to say
Four,
26 goals, 27,
24, 25, something like that. Yeah.
something like that. Yeah. But I mean, it's it's still about consistency because they don't have that.
Hmm.
Zucker, you got guys like Zucker who have scored. How many did he score this year? In 78 games, he had 27 goals, 21 assists. That's 48 points. He had 47 penalty minutes. He was a -4 or a -4. Sorry about that. He was a -4, and of course, no playoff stats because they didn't make the playoffs. But he had a hell of a season. He really did.
I
Only
agree.
missing that many games.
Hmm.
Only missing that many games. That's not that bad. So I'm glad if we do resign him, if that's true, I'm glad we did
For sure.
because that's. But now, in saying that, that doesn't mean he'll have a repeat season of what he had. He could go back to his old ways and be crappy for us,
Hmm.
like he was the previous season before that. Because I think we've had him like 4 seasons now, 5 seasons now,
Good
I
man.
believe.
Hmm.
And let's talk about the core first of all. Um, I
Who?
don't think they should have kept. I don't think they should have kept Malkin and Letang around honestly, because my dad and I both think that Malkin and Letang should go because the way that they play is not does not fit with how the Penguins should play. The Penguins, in my opinion, should be more physical. They should body check more, and they don't. I think them being older has something to do with that because the older you are, the more your body is susceptible to being hurt and
Hmm.
being injured. And I think they're scared of that when they just want to play and everything. But that's one thing they don't do. And
Hmm.
remember Sullivan's motto back in the playoffs in 2016? It said just play. They don't do that anymore. They don't just play. They don't just play to win. They don't just play. They play and then it's like they get complacent and they expect, oh, well, since we have a 2 goal lead, 3 goal lead, they expect to win
Hmm.
out of that. When they've given up the most, I think they gave up the most leads this whole season. I think that's what it was.
It
I
wouldn't
don't
surprise
remember. I
me.
can. What was that?
I said it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, me either, man. I, I don't think so. And then we got rid of Kasperi Kapanen, which yeah, in a way I like that because
I
he
didn't hate
didn't
him,
he
but
didn't
I wasn't.
contribute anything.
I didn't hate Kapanen, but I wasn't like distraught when he went. I'm like, It was
Yeah,
it is
no.
what it is type thing. I'm curious. So are what's Raquel's deal? Is he still on? Is he on a free agent at all, or what is his deal? Because I think he contributes pretty good too.
Ricard Raquel.
Yeah,
Ricard Raquel, they had re-signed him, I believe, during the season,
they did
if I'm
resign
not
him this year?
mistaken. I believe so.
Okay, okay.
So there's another one, Brian Dumoulin. We don't need to keep him. He's inconsistent.
Um,
He doesn't do
I
much.
I don't like Dumoulin that well.
And he actually didn't play that well with Letang like they used to. Like you know how they're our first line or I'm sorry, our first pair defenseman,
Yeah, yeah.
him and Letang.
Hmm.
Well, Marcus Pedersen actually played better with with Chris Letang than Dumoulin did, which says a lot
Because Pedersen
because that
sucks.
means yeah, Pedersen's we Mike and I both don't like Pedersen.
No,
We don't, and neither does my pop. Neither does my dad.
right.
But excuse me.
I just want to say I lost not only does he suck, dude, but like in my opinion, dude, when you play hockey, just from what I've gathered, you need to be a little bit of a dog. You know what I mean? Like you need to have that dog in you just a little bit.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that dude gets his ass kicked. He literally like I watched this dude just you know what I mean? Like I can't get behind that if you're gonna you know what I mean? Like but
yeah,
he just doesn't play well either. But at the same time, I'm like, you just that's like when I told you that's someone else I want to talk about is Archibald. When I when I watched him fight that one, and I'm like, okay, I didn't know he had that in him. You know what I mean? He's kind of like I text you
yeah.
about that. I'm like, dude, that that showed something that I didn't know he had in him. That you know what I respect that a little bit. Um, but yeah, it's kind of I wanted to say that. You know, but
It's all good.
yeah. So yeah, no, I agree. I was just curious about that. I didn't know if they plan to keep him or what. Now, what do you think about Russ? Do you think they're gonna hold on to him too, or what do you think the deal is with him?
Rust. I can't say honestly. I can't say about that because I don't think they should keep him because just like Brian Dumoulin, that's what I was gonna finish about Brian Dumoulin. Both him and Rust, their play has dropped off. It really
Mhm.
has, and people. I'm gonna get butchered probably for that, but I mean, it is what it is. I have my opinions. Everybody else has their opinions.
Right.
Dumoulin, I'm sorry. You have to have brain damage to think Dumoulin's that good anymore. You have to because he's not. He's not what we had. He's not how he was when we had him before.
No.
I mean, granted, we've had him. We've had him the whole. He's only known. He's only played for one team. He's only played for the Penguins. But
Hmm.
what I'm trying to say is he's not like he was before when we won the back-to-back Stanley Cups and when he was better defensively. But also, he doesn't have much of a partner either because, yeah, Petrie's damn good, but he's also older and he's injury prone. As
Hmm.
seen as seen from the season, he got injured what 3 times. He was out most of
I
the
don't
season.
remember him playing that much. I watched a lot of games this year, and I didn't see him playing that much.
I mean, he only played 61 games, 61 games, which isn't actually that bad. I thought he played less than that,
I did too.
but he still that's still a significant amount of time,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
because that's about what 19 games, 20 games,
Yeah.
almost done on 20 games. That's not for the NHL. That's not something that you need to have happen. That you can have happen. You have to. I'm not saying. Oh yeah, play the whole season. Like, pardon me. Like Phil Kessel can because he hasn't missed a game since a regular season game since 2009. His Ironman streak really surpassed. Not Aaron Ekblad. What was his name? I forgot the defenseman that he surpassed in the Ironman streak. Um, it's it's crazy how Dumoulin's play fell off. But like I was saying, he doesn't have much of a partner because Letang, yeah, he's good, but he's also inconsistent too. That's okay. That's the key word of the day, guys. Inconsistency, because that's what this team is all about. Apparently,
Yeah.
inconsistency.
Right.
You have guys like Crosby who are almost always consistent.
You know what
You
he's gonna
have
do.
guys like yeah, you have guys like Malkin who
He's either gonna
catches
play really good
fire.
or really bad. One of the two.
Exactly,
There's no in
exactly.
between.
And his word, if I had to put a word to Malkin, laziness, complete laziness, because what he does and what I noticed during the season watching the games, he'll skate a little bit and then glide. He won't skate his ass off. He'll skate and then glide and then turn back, you know. And then another thing is he won't shoot enough. He won't shoot the puck enough, especially on power plays. You know what the umbrella is, right, Mike?
Yeah.
The umbrella formation. Okay, they either have the 1-3-1 or the umbrella.
Mhm.
And in the umbrella formation, they're kind of like there's one right here, one in front of the net, and the or no, there's one by the net, one at what they call the bumper spot, and then you got two on the sides, and then one back at the blue line. Malkin's usually here for a one timer because Raquel's on the other side for a one timer. That's the best kind of shot that you can have on the power play. A one timer, a real quick one timer to get it in and score on the power play. Malkin's usually down here. All he does and all they do, especially on the power play, is pass it. And I noticed that. I noticed that a lot this year, and it made me furious because I'm like, I find myself multiple times yelling at the screen, shoot the
Right.
puck, and they don't because I guess I don't know if they want to be too cute with it, which they have been. I don't know if they. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what their thought process is of that, and it's infuriating at times because being a diehard Penguins fan, you miss 100. Okay, I go by this motto in life, and I think Mario Lemieux had said it, or Wayne Gretzky. I don't remember which one. You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
I love
Right?
it. Yeah, good quote.
If you don't take a shot, you're gonna miss.
Right.
If you take a shot, yeah, you could miss, but you have a better chance of scoring. You have a better chance of achieving your goal, which is in this case getting a goal and putting your team first or whatever. And they don't have that motto. Obviously, they don't have that. They don't have that mindset. And being a diehard Penguins fan, it's really infuriating, really frustrating to see that they don't know obviously what they're doing. They seem to not know what they're doing.
Hmm.
And I don't know. I don't know, man. But I've talked for a while, so I'll let you start talking about what you think about. Let's go with Jake Gensel. What do you think about Jake Gensel and his season, and what do you think about him moving forward? Because he is a UFA. He is an unrestricted free agent, which means he can test the market if the Penguins choose not to bring him back. So, what do you think? Should they bring him back? Should they not? What's your opinion?
I think Gensel, honestly, besides Crosby, is probably our best player right now. I think that's
Okay.
pretty obvious to say. Um, in no way, shape, or form do I think they should let him walk at all because someone's gonna pay him if they do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Someone will pay that man if they let him walk. They need to re-sign him. I think he had a great season as far as, just what he does. You know he's gonna score goals. You know he's going to play hard. You know that type
yeah,
of player he is. Um, and I just think there's in no way, shape, or form should they let him walk at all. I think that if you're gonna move forward, especially with the consistency aspect that we've talked about, he's one of the
yeah.
guys that will play consistent. He's like Crosby. You know what he's gonna bring. You know what he's gonna do. And I like I said, he should no way should they let him walk. He's one of them guys you just need to keep around. Um,
Yeah,
it really makes everybody else better. With how he plays. So
I I agree with that, man. But my thing is that are they going to have the money to resign him?
which
Because
is a good point. I hope they do. I don't know what their cap situation is. I don't, and maybe you do. Um, but I
their cap
know,
situation looks like dog doogie right now.
yes,
That's
that's
what it
that's a
looks like.
problem. That's a problem. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the kind of situation where moving on from guys like, you know, Dumoulin or, guys like that who you don't need to keep around.
yeah,
That's where like something like that happens where you need to get rid of guys like that because he's the kind of player that you just need to keep. You know what I mean? He
yeah.
can't let him walk. And I know, like I said, I understand money could be the issue, but that's one of the things, man, you need to work out because you just can't let him go. You know what I mean? I would be extremely pissed off if I saw that he signed somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Honestly, yeah. I'm sorry. Keep going. Go ahead.
I'm good. I'm good with that. I mean, I just be furious if he was gone. I would not like that. He's in
Yeah,
my opinion, really good. I mean, I said you know more than I do probably about this, but
yeah.
from what I watch and what I know about him, dude, he's just that kind of player you want to keep around. He's that kind of player that you want on your team.
I think with that, I think having 36 goals and 73 total of 73 points because he had 36 goals, 37 assists. He had a plus minus of 2. He had a plus 2. He only had 46 penalties and minutes to this year. That's pretty damn good in my opinion. But another thing about that is he's injury. Well, he's not really injury prone anymore because he only missed what 4 games.
Ain't bad at all.
yeah, yeah, he only missed 4 games. He played 78. He played 78. I'm not good at math, but I think that's about 4 games. So he only played 78. He played 78 games, which is a good season. Like I was saying earlier about Petrie missing about 20 or 19.
Hmm.
I would rather one of them miss 4 games and miss 19 because those 19 games could have really helped us. Could really helped us. Um, get more wins and we would be in the playoffs. Probably not now because our thing is first round exits. That's just what we are. We turned into the Maple Leafs apparently, which we'll get into
We'll
that
talk
again
about that
later.
later. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. But we turned into our own little Toronto Maple Leafs. It's like we can't get out of the first round because I guess we're scared to play tough. We don't have anybody to play tough except Josh Archibald, but he's small. You have to
Mhm.
be big and throw your body around because when you're small and body check like that, which is what I was trying to say earlier, we should do more and we should get somebody like at least 2 or 3 guys, in my opinion. Pat Maroon, even though he's older. Matt Martin would be good, even though he's older. We need to get younger, first of all. But guys like Pat Maroon, Ryan Reeves, we should try to get him back, or Matt Martin. They would all be good for the fourth line or even the first line because what my dad has said before in talking to me about it is if you put one of them on Sid's line, nobody's gonna mess with Sid. Nobody's gonna mess with Gensel because it's Gensel, Sid, and Raquel. If you move Raquel maybe down to the second line with Malkin, and then put one of the enforcers or one of the grinders, whatever you guys want to call it, up on the first line, nobody's gonna mess with Sid. Nobody's gonna mess with Gensel because if you mess with the bull, you're gonna get the horns, right?
All right.
And that bull would be that grinder, that that enforcer, that whatever you want to call them. They're going to be that tough, and they're going to beat you around for beating their stars around.
Hmm.
And we don't have that. We don't have that anymore. In fact, I don't remember the last time we had somebody like that. The last guy that I can think of that was like that, he was more of a scrapper, a fighter than anything. Aaron Asham. Well, okay, Ryan Reeves. When we had Ryan Reeves, he would beat people around. That's the last guy. But before that, I don't remember who we had. I think Aaron Asham. I don't know if you know who that is,
I
but
don't
Aaron
know.
Asham. Aaron Asham was somebody that would really, really throw his body around and hit you and fight you whenever he wanted to. Basically, he was he was a goon, is what we call him. He was a
I like
goon.
it. I like it.
Um, and in a way, we need that, but in a way, we also need somebody that'll just play and not worry about hitting. And we don't have that consistency throughout the lineup. We have only skill, and then we have guys with no skill at all. I'm looking at you, Granlund, because you didn't show up worth a shit in
No.
the season. You didn't show up, so you can go back to Nashville or whatever. I mean, you were a good player. He was a good player, but what happened when he came here?
Right.
And
And you
also,
told
what
me
happened
you told me in the beginning when we signed him, you said you said it was kind of a like a
iffy?
like a toss up. You know what I mean? We didn't know what to expect from it when he came.
Yeah, exactly. Because he had a good. I think he had. Sorry, guys, if I look away from the camera, I have my all my information right here. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he had a decent 21-22 season, but he didn't have a good 22-23 season. Because I think what was said was that he only had like 11, not even 11 goals. He had maybe like 9 goals, 14 assists this year, I think. That's what I want to say.
Mhm.
Okay. The previous season, 21-22, he played 80 games. He had 11 goals, 53 assists, 64 points. That's damn good. In 22-23, with both the Predators and Penguins, he had 10 goals. Um, okay, he had 9 goals with Nashville, 27 assists, which makes 36 points. He had 1 goal. I don't even remember him scoring for the Penguins.
I remember
That's
I remember
how
watching that game. I remember watching the game.
that's that's how irrelevant he is to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, but I mean,
He
but
had
to the point, yeah.
he had 1 goal, 4 assists, 5 points for the Penguins. He's he didn't show up. He's one of those guys that didn't show up.
I agree.
I I can't I can't say that about Nick Bonino because he got hit with the puck in like his third game back with the Penguins and had a lacerated kidney. He was out the rest of the season.
Yeah.
You can't really you can't play as far as I know unless there's some magical like fucking medicine out there that can make you play on a lacerated kidney. He was in the hospital for about a week or something like that. I don't remember. He was in the hospital for about a week
Mhm.
after that. You can't play hockey, especially hockey, in my opinion, which is the toughest game you can play out there. Not football. Basketball is a joke. Baseball is starting to become a joke.
Yeah.
Um, fight me about it. But you can't play a tough game like hockey on a lacerated kidney. So I can't come out and say, oh, Benino was ass. Benino didn't do anything because he didn't have a chance to show what he was like
Yeah.
with the Penguins.
Hmm.
He didn't get that chance because he was hurt. Granted, of course, everybody gets hurt on the Penguins. That's just how we are now. I don't know why, but we're very injury prone. I don't know if it's how they condition. I don't know if it's how the trainers train them, or I don't know what their diets. I don't know, but there's teams out there that don't have that many injuries. And I look at the Penguins and I'm like, why are we getting injured so much?
Hmm.
Because I don't think Malkin got injured much this year. I don't I don't really remember how many games he played. Um, let me see. I want to say it was like 60 something. He played he played all 82 games. Oh wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And it's not that I haven't been paying attention. It's just that oh
It's just
he had a better season than I thought he did. Wow.
huh.
Because I thought he was really inconsistent this year. At least that's how he looked whenever I would watch a game. Because like I was talking about before, he wouldn't score, or
Mhm.
I'm sorry, he wouldn't shoot. He wouldn't
Mhm.
shoot. He would try to be pretty and deke and everything, and it didn't work. He played 82 games. His stats this year were 82 games. In those 82 games, 27 goals, which I think was third on the team, if I'm not mistaken, behind Gensel and Crosby.
Mhm.
56 assists, which makes 83 points. 83 points in 82 games. That's better than I
A
expected.
point a game, basically.
But yeah, it is a point a game. But for plus minus -12,
Yeah, that ain't good.
and the penalty minutes was horrible. 82 penalty minutes. He
Means at least a
surpassed.
minute a game.
I'm sorry.
At least a minute a game he's in there.
Exactly. He who was it? Who did he surpass in all-time Penguins record for penalties and minutes? I don't remember who it was, but he
I didn't remember
surpassed
speaking about
the,
that.
the leader. Yeah, he. What I'm trying to say is he's first in penalties and minutes, which is ridiculous because that's not something we need. We
Right.
we would rather. I would rather have them be on the power play, which is ironic to what I said earlier, because of what I said earlier. Um, than be on the penalty kill.
Hmm.
But I believe actually our penalty kill was better this year than it was, or than the power play was.
Hmm. All right.
But yeah, so
So get some
that's
good
crazy.
points there. What I want to do is I have the roster pulled up here.
Yeah.
What I want to do is I want to go through every one of these people and I want to see who we agree and who we disagree on that we should keep.
Okay. And the reasons why. Yeah,
Reasons
I
why.
like that idea. The
So
reasons why.
so I'm just gonna go down the list and we have Archibald. I'll let you go first. Do we
Archibald.
keep or go? We're just gonna say what we think back and forth here.
Ooh. Uh Josh Archibald. Honestly, I think we should let him go. Because yeah, he's a bit of a scorer. He throws his body around, but he's not tough enough. He needs to have that grind. He needs to have that dog in him, and he doesn't. In a way, he has that puppy in him, if you want to say. He's starting to get there. He's starting to get there, but he's not at that level yet. He's not
How
at that level.
how old is dude? He's 30. He's a little older.
Archibald, he looks like he's a kid, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
if you look at him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, we had him before. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think he won the Stanley Cup in 2017 with us. I could be wrong.
Right here it says he was with us from basically 2015 to 2018.
So yeah, he won the cup with us. If he played the right amount of games to be on the cup, because on hockeyreference.com, if you've ever looked at that,
Mhm.
it'll show you if you look up a player, excuse me, and it says um one time or two-time Stanley Cup champion underneath them or underneath their name. That means that their name is on the cup. If their name isn't on the cup, they're not going to be listed as a cup champion. Even though, in my opinion, that's a little bit of horseshit because if you're with the team, if you're actively on the team and if you're on the active roster when they win the Stanley Cup, whether you played one game in the playoffs or played no games in the playoffs but played almost every game in the regular season, you should be on the cup.
I agree.
I I understand if it's like a situation where you have a two-way contract, then that's different. I think that's what it is actually. If you have a two-way contract and you're not considered a full-time like NHLer for that season, you're not and your team wins the Stanley Cup at the end of the season, you're not on the Stanley Cup. I think you have to be a full-time NHLer. I think the limit is you have to play half of the season and one game in the playoffs or one game in the finals or something like that to get your name on the Stanley Cup. And I don't think he's on there. But Josh Archibald, yeah, Josh Archibald, I think we should let him go. Um, okay, yeah, he did win the cup with us. That's right. I think it was 2017 because he played more. He played more of that playoffs than he did the previous one before that.
Right. Okay.
Um,
So
what about you? What do you think about Archibald? Do you think we should let him go?
so honestly, obviously you have more knowledge than I do. You provide a
Yeah,
lot more than I do. But personally, he grew on me. He grew on me a little bit where I wouldn't here's the thing. I wouldn't be pissed off like, oh man, we let him go. But if we keep him, I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it.
me either.
I wouldn't be mad either way, but my preference is like, yeah, if we keep him, I'd be happy. You know what I mean? Like I would keep him, but I wouldn't be pissed off if we didn't. You know what I mean? It's either way, like whatever.
Yeah,
That deal. So, okay. So I like that. Okay, so
yeah.
down we talked about this person a little bit in detail a little bit already. For the next couple people. Um,
Okay.
Bonino. What do you think about Bonino? You keep
But
it?
we should keep him. We
I
should
agree.
keep him. He's a damn good face-off man. Face-off player. He's really good on the face-off. Is what I'm trying to say. Also, and this is how he got hurt. He's good at blocking shots.
Mhm.
That's what he did in the playoffs. I believe it was him that broke his ankle in 2017, and he missed the rest of the playoffs. But he went out there and still hoisted the cup up. And he was in uniform. I mean, granted, he didn't really. I got a notification. He didn't really get to play the rest of the playoffs, but blocking shots is key to winning games because if you can block a shot for your goalie because you think he's going to miss it or you feel like the shot is going to be is going to go in a way where he's not going to make it, he's not going to make that save, and you block it, you're contributing a lot to the team
Mhm.
defensively.
Right.
even though he's a forward, he contributes a lot defensively. He doesn't score much, no, but we already have guys for that. We already have guys like Gensel, Malkin apparently, Sid who can score, Raquel, and that's another thing that I'll get into in a little bit. Depth scoring. We don't have much depth scoring. I
Right.
think the only guy that we had depth scoring wise that would actually produce.
So you were saying about our second line, or well, not second line, but just depth scoring in general. Whoever you brought up, the only person you think has good second or good like depth scoring is who?
By the way, our session timed out, so that's why we had to really fix everything. But
Yeah.
we're gonna splash that all into one.
Oh,
You'll just see
also the
some
one. Yeah,
cuts.
yeah.
Um, I forgot who I was gonna say. I think it was
Who's a good scorer on the depth
yeah.
that you think? That's what you're gonna bring up.
Hein- Heinen came to mind, but Heinen isn't much of a. He hasn't scored much. Um, depth wise, we don't really have anybody that. That's another thing. We don't really have anybody that can score depth wise, and that's what I was trying
What
to
about
say.
O'Connor? Did he score many?
O'Connor, yeah, yeah.
He's a dog. I
O'Connor
like
is
him.
probably yeah, me too. O'Connor is probably the best depth scorer we have. Honestly, that's what I was trying to say. I couldn't
Okay,
think of his name, but other
good.
than him, we don't really have anybody that can score depth wise. They can shoot when they want to. They can, hit. They can't, but I mean, it's it's all about having depth scoring and then also having the ability to, body check and throw your body around and stuff like that. And we don't really have that many people that can do that. We don't really have that many players that can do that.
Right.
Now, I think they re-signed Drew O'Connor to a 1 year deal or something like that recently.
I
And
think it
who was it recently? Who else did they signed? I don't remember. They signed to a 1 year deal.
it was Nylander.
Nylander, yes, Alex Nylander. I love that because
He's down on our list a little bit, so we can talk about him in a second.
yeah. About Nylander, real quick, I love that they re-signed him because he plays pretty much kind of like his brother William.
I was
Um,
just wondering if they were brothers. I didn't know if they were or not.
yeah, he's the
Okay.
younger brother of William. We'll get
Mhm.
into that later, but yeah, I like that. I like that they re-signed him, even though it
Okay.
was a 1 year deal, and I think it was a two-way, which means you can go
Up and down
to the
minors
AHL,
and stuff.
yeah, up
Yeah.
and down, yeah.
Mm.
But I like that. I like that re-signing.
I
So
didn't know much about him, so you told me it was a good move. I remember seeing him play, but I didn't know much about him. So um but all right, so
yeah,
we have we talked about Archibald, we talked about Bonino. Um
and there's
Carter,
a few people we can skip. So
yeah, yeah. So we have Carter. We said we re-signed him. I don't feel good about it. I'd let him walk probably. That's just me.
ditto because even because my dad, I bring up my dad a lot. He and I are diehard Penguins fans, diehard hockey fans, and we talk a lot about, especially the Penguins. We talk about a lot about how they need to get rid of some guys and they need to do this and do that. Carter, I second what you said. Carter, he needs to be gone. I think he's not contributing anything to the team
No,
anymore. He's
no,
not.
I
He
agree.
doesn't score. He doesn't really. He can get assists. I think if I can look at it real quick.
I have it pulled up here. Hold on. He only had 16 assists in 2023.
13 goals, 16 assists, 29 points.
Yeah.
That's not. That is not what we got him for.
No.
When we got him, when we got him as a king, he played a hell of a lot better.
Hmm.
But then again, honestly, I can't even really say that because when we first got him, he only had 9 goals, 2 assists, and 11 points for us.
Yeah.
So he's never really been that great for us.
No, I agree. We both need to. I think we both agree. But he shouldn't have resigned. I probably need to go on that.
Mm-mm. Yeah,
Next one's Crosby. I think we both agree we should fucking keep Crosby.
yeah. Let's just skip that one.
Let's
Let's
skip
just
that one. Against
skip on.
we got Granlund next. I think we both agree
I
Granlund should go.
Yeah, I already said my
We,
piece
we
about that. I already said
yeah,
my
we
opinion about
both
that.
said we
So
both think that. Gensel, I think I said my piece about that.
Gensel, yeah, I think
If if
I
if
think
if all told money wise works out, I think we both agree we should keep him
if he can keep up, yes, if he can keep up with what he
with what
has
he's
been
doing.
doing,
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
because we've had players like that where we re-sign them and they're like they get complacent. They're like, oh, well, since I'm on the same team and I have a chance of, well, not this year, of course, but maybe I think we're going into rebuild mode now. But if he had the mindset of, oh, I re-signed with the Penguins, I've won a cup with them before, they're gonna keep me. I can start playing more lazy now.
Hmm.
Malkin, but I can start playing more lazy now. That's gonna hurt us because if he starts getting to where he doesn't play how he knows he can play and how we know he can play, then that's a bad re-signing.
Right,
But ultimately, in my opinion, we should keep him because
right.
he
I
can
and I
score.
think he's that kind of guy that works hard, that would
Yeah,
do that. So
yeah,
I think we both
exactly.
agree that like if everything works out, if everything keeps the same, I guess, work ethic, then I think we're good.
Oh
Um
yeah, oh yeah.
all right, so Heinen, what do you think about Heinen? I'm curious what you think about Heinen. See,
Heinen.
I have him in my NHL franchise on NHL 23. And he does pretty well.
Yeah,
That's a video game, obviously. But I've never hated Heinen. I think he does okay. I don't, I mean, but you know more than I do, probably. But I've
I
never,
like Heinen. Go ahead.
I said, I've just never hated him. I mean, he only had 22 points in the season, 8 goals,
Yeah,
14 assists. He's younger, though. He's only 27. And I don't
yeah.
hate him. I think he plays decent where you can keep him around. You know, I don't know. That's just me.
I think
I
we
would keep
should.
him. That's just me.
I think honestly, I like him like you do. I like him like you do. I've never hated him. In fact, I liked the pickup when we first got him, but I think we should let him go really because if he's only getting 22 points and 8 goals, I mean that's that's not something we need. Like I'm not asking for 100. I'm not asking for them to be like McDavid, which I'm not even going to get into him. Crosby's still better. Um,
Yeah, right. 100%.
but I'm not asking somebody like Denton Heinen to score 100 points or more. I'm not asking for that. I'm not asking him to even score 50. But he's more of a liability now than anything because he doesn't do much. Honestly, he doesn't do much.
Hmm.
He can score every now and then when he gets the chance, but he doesn't. He doesn't really do much at all.
That's like
Really,
a solid point. A solid point.
he's
Uh,
like Archibald. He's exactly like Archibald, in my opinion. He's like a
yeah.
left-handed, taller, younger Archibald. He can
Hmm.
score when he gets the chance, but when he gets the chance, he misses most of the time.
Hmm.
So I
Kind
think
of a toss up player. I mean,
yeah,
I think I'm in the same boat as I was with Archibald. If we re-sign him, I'd be good with it. But at the
yeah,
same time, if he's let go, I'm not going to be like super distraught. You know what I mean?
yeah, me too. I think
So
he's one of the ones where we like him, but we can definitely do better than him. We
yeah,
can
yeah,
definitely do
yeah.
better than. I mean, he's not terrible. He's not at all in a way, excuse my language, shitty, but also in a way he is. He's very one of those, like you said, toss up kind of players.
Right,
And we
right.
can definitely do better. We can get Klim Kostin for the Oilers. I'd rather have him because he can score. He can really forward check. He can body check. He's decent defensively. I would rather have him for the third or fourth line than Heinen.
Hmm.
But like you said, it wouldn't be. I wouldn't cry a river if we let him go. But I also wouldn't throw a celebration if we
Yeah.
kept him. So it's like one of those things.
Either
Like
way, I'm good with it. Like if we keep him, I'm
yeah,
good. If we don't, whatever.
yeah,
All right. So
exactly.
Malkin, what do you think about Mal? I mean, tough one.
Uh, should I even get into this? I know we're gonna keep him. I mean, he's already signed for what, 8 more years, 6 more years,
Yeah, we'll
something like
keep
that.
him. Is it
We'll keep him.
necessarily the most I don't know the right word. Is it necessarily the most logical thing? Probably not, but it probably just makes the
Mhm.
most sense because he's been there for so long that they did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
So
think I think they wanted. I already know that they wanted to keep the core together, and I'm
yeah.
all about that. In a way, I'm all about that. But
Hmm.
in my opinion, Malkin is not the player that he used to be
Yeah, I agree.
because he's older. And I've already talked about this a lot. I'm gonna talk about it again because that's what this team is. They're old as hell.
Hmm.
They are.
Hmm.
I think if it wasn't Boston, it was us. I think it was Boston first or Washington, one of the two. Boston, Washington, and Pittsburgh were all three in the top three for oldest teams this year. And I believe we were number one or two. I don't remember. I don't quote me on that. I can't recall. But I believe with him being older and him not having the game that he used to, he's like he's not as much of a liability as Heinen because he can still do good when he can, but he's very inconsistent and he's more of a liability now than he ever was. But if he can find his game next season, I don't know what's wrong with him. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that um, the culture is changing and maybe he doesn't like how it is
Hmm.
anymore. And he'd rather be a first line player because he played second fiddle. In my opinion, that's probably what it is. He's played second fiddle to Sid his whole career, and in a way, he wants to be the star or whatever.
Yeah.
But I also could be wrong. I'm thinking the way that my grandpa was thinking right there.
It's a
Because
solid point.
he,
It's a solid point. I could see it,
yeah,
you know.
me
Um,
too, me too.
but
But
but it's he's playing like that Robin role. You know what I mean? The Batman to Robin role is what he's kind of playing.
yeah,
You really think
he's
about it.
playing the sidekick role. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
playing the sidekick role where
And
he doesn't really contribute much to the main character. He doesn't contribute much to the main person, but he also contributes at times.
mhm,
He can.
for sure.
Yeah. What were you saying?
Yeah, so either way, I think we both agree that having him there is probably it's probably a good thing. It's just to kind of have him around kind of thing. We know he's gonna stay, like you said.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like maybe we just get used to seeing him, I guess. You know what I mean? Um,
I guess so.
but all right, so let's move on. We talked about Nylander, we've talked about O'Connor, we both like them, 100%
Yeah.
down with them too.
Yeah.
Paling, what do you
Plus,
think about oh wait, go ahead.
sorry about that. Real quick about Nylander and O'Connor. They're young. We need to
Mhm.
get younger. So
Yeah,
that's
true,
another
true.
reason I think we should keep them.
Yeah, for sure.
Paling too. Paling too. Because I'm gonna go into that because you asked me about Ryan Paling, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Paling Paling is one of those ones that I think he doesn't do much, but we should keep because defensively, he's pretty all right. He doesn't score much. Plus, he was injured most of the season.
Right. He's only young. The way I look at it is he's young and he can only improve. He's only 24, dude. And I
Yeah,
mean
he
that's
can definitely
2
improve.
years older than what we are, you know.
Yeah,
And and I think that I agree with all three of them. I think that going forward, I think they can improve and hopefully get better, you know.
yeah.
Um, so good looks there. Um, Raquel, I think we should keep Raquel. I think you probably would think that too.
Oh yeah, yeah. We should
100%.
keep Raquel. I'm
100%.
I'm starting a fight with somebody if we don't keep Raquel. That's a dumpster fire right there. If
Right.
basically
Um,
basically that's garbage if we don't keep him because
right.
he contributed a lot. So
For
especially on the
sure.
power play.
For sure. Rust, you said we could probably move on from him.
I
I
think it's time.
I this is a I get I get why what you said, and I know this has been a trend for me saying this, but this is another move that I really like Rust. But again, this is a move that similar with Archibald and Heinen that would I like to see him go? Preferably not. But either way, I'm
Yeah,
not
no.
going to cry a river. You know, what I mean, if we keep him great. I think he can do good things.
Yeah,
But either way, if we move on and be like, whatever, I do like the guy. But as far as what he provides, either way, I'm cool with it. You know what I mean? Type deal.
yeah, me too. He's more of an injury risk now than anything because
Yeah.
that's pretty much all he does. I
Hmm.
mean, he can score when he's on his game. That's one thing about the NHL that some people I don't think understand. When somebody, especially a player like that, is on their game, they can be lights out. They can be good,
Hmm.
especially when it comes to goalies and everything. They can be on their game.
Yeah.
But when they are bad, when they have their bad days, at that moment in time, you're like, get the player off the team, get him off the team. We don't even
Yeah.
need him anymore.
Hmm.
And that's the beauty, but also the curse or whatever you want to call it. That's the beauty, but the ugliness of the NHL. You can like somebody one day and then think he's garbage the next day because he's not having a good day or a good season. And I find myself saying that a lot about the Penguins this year because of certain players like Malkin and like Russ. I love the guys. They contributed to our last two Stanley Cups. I love them, but it's time to let go. It's time to change and get some because like I brought up before in the first part of this video, insanity, the definition of insanity is doing one thing over and over again and expecting different results. You cannot have the same team for dozens of years. I mean, granted, yeah, you can have the same three core guys, and obviously for 16 years that worked out.
Hmm.
But the guys around them to help them keep that built of a team and keep that team that we knew and that was secure, you have to change that because eventually it's like a foundation. Eventually, walls will start cracking, bricks will start to break, you know. And
Yeah.
to keep that foundation up, you gotta rebuild, right? You gotta rebuild all that stuff.
Hmm.
We all know as Penguins fans, any fan of a sports team, any fan of especially of an NHL team, you know that there's gonna come a time where it's time to rebuild. Yeah,
Yeah.
we were damn good for many years. It's time to rebuild.
Mhm.
I think that time is now. If we want to get Malkin, Sid, and Letang another cup before they all retire, it's time to rebuild.
All right. Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I want to
It
bring up
really
what you
is.
said. What you said about you made all great points, and what you said about like that you mentioned that love hate thing with players. You know what I mean? I feel like
Yeah,
that's just in general. That's with sports, even in general. Like you have players
yeah,
like in any team you like. You know what I mean? You just have that, and some you love more than others all the time, but other
absolutely,
players you're like, you know, you hate them one day, but you love them the next. So that's a good point. Um,
absolutely.
Zucker, we talked about Zucker a good amount. With the season he had, I know he's older and I know our goal is to get younger. With the season he had though, I'd hold on to him.
I think so too.
Did sign him and we did re-sign him, we said the 1 year. Did we say that or no?
No, I think it was somebody else.
Oh,
We did re-sign him though. If I can look into that and let you know later on. Um, but I
I
think
can
we
even put
did
it up
re-sign.
here, like what the deal was or whatever.
Yeah, I think we did re-sign Jason Zucker. I think it was 2 years. And it's not that I just look at something if y'all are thinking that. It's not that I just look at something I'm like, oh, okay. I have bad memory. I really do. I don't remember a lot
I
of
have terrible
things.
memory too, yeah.
But if I'm not mistaken, it was about 2 or 3 years. Oh no. Right here it says that he's a free agent, but that's not what I'm seeing on the free agent list.
We'll probably. I thought I saw something about him re-signing him too. I'm sure we will.
Yeah.
Regardless, I think I think with the year he had, even if it's like a 1 year prove it type deal, that you
Yeah.
come back and do the same thing, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I just think the way he played it, I like it. Obviously.
Yeah. If he can stay healthy and not get injured like he had the previous two seasons, because that's I think that's why his game dropped off. I think it is because he was battling what was it, a knee injury, and he had surgery on something. He was playing through that, and that's why he wasn't good.
Mm-hmm.
He got the surgery. He missed the rest of last year, and then this year he really stepped up. And I think that was a big problem with Malkin the past couple of years too. He was playing with that bad knee injury that he had surgery on, and he played better.
Mm-hmm.
His stats show that he played better. He played all 82 games. He didn't get injured at all this season. He played every single game.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe most of these guys we need to kind of give a break. I think especially me because I'm more harsh on them than you are. Um, but
All right.
I think maybe I need to give them a little bit of a break because we don't know what they're battling. They could be battling demons. They could be battling injuries. You never know. But
Right.
from a hockey standpoint, I'm sure you see where I'm coming from. From a
Oh
hockey
yeah.
standpoint,
You still
they need to have
we
him.
still want them to go out and play at a high level. That's what we
Exactly.
expect, but we
Exactly.
do understand, everyone's facing battles. I mean, I think me and you are
Yeah.
proofs of that.
Yeah.
But we still, with any sports team that you root for in any sport, you want them to go out and
Mhm.
play at a high level. It's what you expect in a way.
Yeah.
Um, so that was all the forwards. We're on the
Okay.
defensive end now. I'm gonna pick out two players right here that we can eliminate right
Okay.
off the rip. We can eliminate Dumoulin. We can eliminate Patterson because we both think they're ass.
Yeah.
So we can eliminate them two off the rip. Everyone knows what we think about them there.
Now, real quick about Pedersen. He, like I said earlier, he played better with certain people. He played better with Petrie. He played better with Letang, but he also didn't play that well because he hasn't found. In my opinion, if he can find his game and if he can find the right way to play the game, he can be a good defenseman. But he also needs to gain some weight because he's scrawny as hell. He's skinny as hell. He's
Hmm.
tall
Yeah.
and he has a long neck. That's why my dad and I nicknamed him Giraffe. That's what we go. That's what we nicknamed him. That's what he goes by. Um, but if he has somebody like Petrie or Letang, he can be decent. Defensively, he needs to find his game. Defensively, he needs to find his game. He's not a offensive defenseman. I think he's more of a two way, but or maybe a defensive defenseman. But defensively, he needs to find the game, find his game, and if he can, because I already know the way that Pittsburgh works, so we're gonna keep him. Sadly, we're gonna keep him, and
Yeah.
he's not a free agent. I think we already re-signed him. Oh, okay, yeah. Real quick, going back to Jason Zucker, he is on that list. He's a free agent. I thought we had re-signed him, but he is a free agent. Okay,
I
that's
imagine
my
we
mistake.
I imagine though the way he played, we'll probably look to re-sign him, I would think.
Yeah,
But we both kind of thought the same thing about him. So
but with that Jason Zucker thing, real quick, really quick, with that, it's gonna be between him and Gensel who they keep, and I think they're gonna go with the younger Gensel. So we may lose Zucker. I think we should keep him. I think it should be the other way around. We should keep Zucker, get rid of Gensel. But you know, I think they're gonna do it where they're gonna let Zucker walk, and then they're gonna keep Gensel. I think that's what they're gonna do. Because
ideally though, we'd want to keep them both. I mean, ideally that'd be the
oh,
best scenario.
of
Um,
course,
but okay, so
back to the
yeah,
defenseman.
so Pedersen, yeah, I mean, I don't we both don't really like him. I mean, if
No,
if he can change his game a little bit, I wouldn't mind it. But
yeah,
I think we're both in agreement that Dumoulin and Pedersen are probably can kick rocks in an ideal situation.
yeah.
Um,
That left side on the defenseman on the defense, we need to better it. We need to really up it
mhm,
and get better. I mean, we got Kulikov, but he didn't. He got injured the first game back. I think it was the first game with us, something
mhm.
like that.
So would you hold on to him
And
or would you let him walk? Because he's on the list too, obviously.
Kulikov, talking about left-handed defenseman, I think we should probably let him go. I think he was more of a rental, even though he's not. He doesn't do much anymore. I preferred him with the Jets because I'm a Jets fan too, a Winnipeg Jets fan. I preferred him with the Jets because he played better with the Jets. It's about. I'm gonna bring up the Penguin system again. It's about that system, and I think certain players, especially like Pedersen and Dumoulin now, because I think he changed his game. If I'm not mistaken, um, he he plays different to what their system is.
Yeah.
Kulikov does. He plays different to what their system is. He doesn't play to what they expect. So, with that being said, I think we should let him go. But if he can learn their system and be able to get into like, I'm trying to find the word for it.
Like the camaraderie,
If he
like the continuity and something about
no, if he can basically if he can draw into their lineup in a good way, and he can learn their system and really be able to uh I'm stuck on the word, but if he
I
is
know what you
able to
mean.
learn their
I know
system,
what you mean.
if he is able to learn the system and play better and get better, keep him. But I think Kulikov. There's plenty of players out there better than Kulikov. Somebody that I think we should pick up that we'll get to in the free agency part of this, because I believe he's a UFA. I could be mistaken, or we should hell we could even trade for him. We should get Ian Cole back. He's one hell of a defenseman, defensively especially, and he's like in a way I believe he's like the Nick Bonino of defenseman for us. And he was when he was with us when we won the cups. He blocked a lot of shots and he put his body out there. He sacrificed himself to keep the puck out of our net so we could win. We need that. Kulikov can't do that. I mean, I think that's how he got hurt in the first place, blocking a shot. Because I think he fractured his femur or something like that, his shin, whatever that bone is right there. But that's about all he can do. But defensive wise, he's made mistakes like Malkin had, or I'm sorry, like Pedersen has. So my final word on it, bless you. My final word on it,
Okay.
we should let him go. We should let him go because there's definitely better defensemen, depth defensemen that we can have because he's going to be on the third pair. He's not
Right.
gonna he's not gonna be on the second pair unless we get rid of Pedersen and unless he can up his game. He's not going to be on that third pair
Right.
unless somebody gets hurt and then we move him up and then we bring up somebody else. So
Right.
yeah,
So
we should let him go.
I ideally about Kulikov, I agree with what you're saying. Um, honestly, you brought up the point though that if he's built in the right spot, because he didn't play a lot of games, I'd like to see what he could do with us. You know what I mean? I'd like to
Yeah,
see what he's capable of doing with us. And I don't know him as a player that well like you do, but I'd like to see possibly what he could do. But honestly, I'm leaning. I'm not even like in a point where I was with other players where I mentioned like, oh, I wouldn't care one way or another. I'm leaning towards the we should probably let him go that deal. But I'm
yeah,
just would be interesting to see what if they decide to keep him, what he would do if he was healthy with us. You know what I mean? I just want to say that.
yeah.
That's a good point.
I agree with that. I agree with that. We should give him a chance. I think about that a lot. Like I think that about a lot of the players too.
Hmm.
Like O'Connor. Like O'Connor. I've always told my dad in talking to him about the Penguins, they need to give Connor more of a chance. They need
I
to
agree.
give P.O. Joseph because I know he's on that list too.
Yeah,
They need
I,
to
I
give
I was saving him for last
Joseph.
because he's one of my favorites here.
Yeah, me too. We'll get into him, but I think they should give both of them more of a chance.
Hmm.
Paling too, because that's what I was gonna. That's what I forgot to say about Paling. I think I might have said it. I don't remember, but if they give Paling more of a chance, he can be better. If
Hmm.
he's able to get stay healthy and they actually give him a chance and keep him in the lineup, he can be good because he looked pretty decent with Montreal from what I saw, but he didn't get many chances. He didn't get that much of a chance in Montreal,
Hmm.
and he didn't get that much of a chance with Pittsburgh this year because of his injuries. Now, if he can stay healthy, that's a different story. We'll see.
Right.
So there's some players that I think we should give them a chance, and then if like around halfway through the season, if they're not contributing, dump them.
Right.
Find something, find someone
Right.
better.
Right. Right. Um. So Petrie, would you keep him or not? I'm not going to spend too
Oh,
much time on Petrie, but would you keep him or would you move on? Personally, I don't know that much about him to say like, oh, I'd keep him or I wouldn't. Honestly,
yeah,
I could honestly the way I look at it is not care too much. This is when I didn't really care too much either way, just because I don't know a lot
you couldn't
about him.
care less.
Yeah, he's a little bit older. He's 35.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So, so what do you think? I mean, he's one I don't want to spend like a ton of time on, but
I think we
um,
should keep him.
keep him.
Honestly, yeah, we
I
should
wouldn't
keep
be
him
opposed
because
to
the
it. I
way,
mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be opposed to
yeah,
it, honestly. I don't. To me, it doesn't matter.
me either. Me either, but then you got to think about the fact that he's really the only other than Letang when Letang is on his game. He's really the only other right-handed defenseman that can do anything.
Right.
Because yeah, he can score, but he's damn good defensively. He's damn good defensively. He showed it in Montreal
Hmm.
that he can play, that he can score. He can block shots. He can defensively play well. He can keep the puck into the zone and everything. He can do a lot. So I think since you don't want to spend much time on him, I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah.
Defensively, he's good. We should keep him. We should definitely keep
Right.
Petrie.
Right.
If he can be healthy, that's another question. That's
Right.
another another story. But yeah, we should
Right.
definitely keep Petrie.
Yeah, like I say, either way, I don't have a preference. I really don't. Either way, I'm fine. You know what I mean? Um, my only thing is that if we still do want to get younger, though, he is 35. He's
Yeah.
older. That's something to keep in mind. But either way, there, I don't really care too much. Um,
In saying that, you have to have that. I'm gonna go back to I guess consistency, or you have to have that like balance. I should say that
yeah,
balance of old and new, like
yeah, I
older and
agree. Yeah, yeah,
younger.
you need to have
So
some of your veterans on there too, for sure.
yeah. So Petrie's one of those older guys that I think we should keep because yeah, we need to get younger definitely, but Petrie's one of the ones that yeah, he's old, but yeah, we should definitely keep him because he can contribute. We both know that. So
Well said. Well said.
it's
Um,
almost time. It's gonna we have 6 minutes until it times out again, so we can get this done.
we're zooming through these last ones here.
Yeah,
Um,
no pun intended.
we know, yeah. Um, no, so we know we both like Joseph. We want to see him get
Yeah,
better chances. I really like him though. He's probably one of my favorite players right now,
me too.
just because
And he definitely has the potential. So
yeah, 100%. So we both like him. We both want to see him get more chances and curious what he can do.
we'll keep him. Yeah,
Um, Rud Weedle, I like Rud Weedle. He's a little older, obviously, but he's one of them guys that like the balance that you
yeah.
keep around for sure. I think definitely. Um,
Ruidal. Ruidal's more of a. I don't want to say he's a liability because defensively he's all right, but I also don't want to say he's a superstar either because he's not. He's
right,
more of a seventh defenseman than anything. He's more of a fill-in guy. So
right.
like you had said earlier about multiple players, I wouldn't I wouldn't be upset if we let him go, but
Yeah,
also
right. Same way.
I would be okay with us keeping him as a seventh defenseman. But he's not a main starter. He's not one that
No,
we should keep in the lineup in the top or in the six. In the
right.
top six defenseman.
Honestly, I feel the same way. We
Yeah,
keep him great, cool. If not, I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. You know what I mean?
yeah. There's definitely a better seventh defenseman out there.
Right.
There's definitely better people,
And
better
then
players.
right, right, agreed. So Ruda, how do you say?
Ruda,
What do you think of him?
Jan Ruda, Jan Ruda, being
Yeah.
that he has playoff experience, that he has cup experience with the Lightning and everything. I think we should keep him because he didn't play that bad. He played
No,
actually pretty well
I thought he did too.
defensively. Defensively, he played well. I believe he's more of a defensive defenseman than anything,
Hmm.
especially on that right side.
Yeah.
Especially on that right side where we have Letang, who's considered. I think he's considered a two-way defender, but he's more of an offensive defenseman. And
Hmm.
Petrie is a two-way defender. We need that defensive defenseman.
Hmm.
And we need, again, I'm going to bring up balance. We need that balance, especially on defense. We need that balance of uh, two ways and offensive and defensive. We need that balance. And I think you should have one of each. You should have one my bad, offensive defenseman, one defensive defenseman, and one two-way because they can all come together and bring in every aspect of the game that you need defensively. So Ruda, because of his experience, yes, he's older, but he's another one of those players, those older players that because of the balance, I think we should keep him. I
I
really
agree.
think we should keep him.
I would keep him too.
Plus he worked well with Joseph. Him and Petrie
Mm-hmm.
really taught Joseph a lot of what he
I like
learned, and
that.
that's why Joseph had a good season.
I like
So
that. Yeah, for
they're
sure.
they're good mentors.
Right. I agree. I like that for sure. I agree with everything.
So
Um,
everybody on the right defensive side, on the right side of the defense, we should keep Latang, Ruda, Petrie, Ruidel. Ruidel is but we should keep all three of our right-handed defensemen.
so Joseph, Latang, Petrie, Rod Weedle and Rod
Ruda.
and
Yeah,
Rod Weedle's that kind of like in between. We really don't mind either way type thing.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Good looks, good looks. All right. So then on to our goalies. I don't think we need to spend. I mean, we
this,
like Jar.
this is
We
gonna
like
be a
Jar. We like Jari, right? Um,
yeah, but there's also that thing of inconsistency and injuries because he was
same thing
injured
with
more
the
this
Smith
season
though.
than
The Smith's the same way.
yeah. But Jay Smith, it's weird with Jay Smith because I've noticed, especially the last few years, they play better for certain players at certain times. Like when Jari had gotten hurt or something like that. No, I'm sorry. When we had Matt Murray, the last year we had Matt Murray, when his dad died and he took a leave of absence or whatever the hell it was for a few months, they played better in front of Casey J. Smith.
Hmm.
They played better. And
And really,
then
this
when
year they did that a little bit too. They had some
yeah,
rally games over him this year.
they did.
Yeah.
But ultimately, yeah, defense wins championships and wins games, but you also have to have that in hockey wise, you have to have that goalie. You have to have the right goalie. You have to have the right backup. Look at Boston. Look at Boston for example. I know we're talking about the Penguins, but Boston, they have Linus Olmark, whatever, and Jeremy Swayman. The two-headed monster, probably the best duo, in fact, the best duo, because they won the is it the Jack Adams Award? Maybe that's
Hmm.
for the coaches. But they won the best goalie award or the something like that. I know that's the Vesna. I forgot what it's called. But they won an award, a duo award for most consistent or less actually I believe it's for um the least amount of goals given up. That's what it is.
Okay. So all told, all that said, would you move on from one of them, both of them? What would you do? Would you keep them?
Ultimately ultimately to win another Stanley Cup this upcoming season, we should try to do better in both aspects, both the starter and the backup. But if we were to keep anybody or keep either one of them, I would go with Jari because Dave Smith is more inconsistent than Jari. Jari's more of he'll get injured and be out for a long time than he is inconsistent. Whenever he fucks up, it's mainly about how the team is playing in front of him
Yeah.
than his play. Yeah, I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not saying that at all. Nobody is.
Right.
No goalie is. No player is. Nobody is.
Right.
But he's more of a consistent player. He can make more. He can take more shots, and he can, make more saves than Dave Smith can. Dave Smith is more of that. I'm going to bring up liability again. He he's inconsistent liability, honestly, because he has that potential. He just he doesn't have the game. He'd probably be better as a backup, maybe in Arizona, but
Right.
and I'll get into this more in our next uh, one of our next few videos when we talk
Right.
about free agency because
Right.
how we're gonna do this is we're gonna we're pretty much done talking about the Penguins.
Right.
We're
I understand.
gonna talk about the playoffs and what's to come and review the first round, and then we're going to go into free agency. Somebody that I think would be a better starter than Jari, so Jari can move to backup, is John Gibson. We
Mhm.
should keep him. He's a Pittsburgher. He was born in Pittsburgh. That's a whole nother story for another time. But yeah,
Right.
I think
Yeah. Yeah. So cool. So as far yeah, I agree with what you said. As far as Jari, I think you should probably look to keep him. The Smith
yeah,
is one of those guys that if you want to move on, you probably could, but at the same time, could serve as well as a backup probably. But I guess time will tell. We are about to end
definitely.
this though.
Yeah.
With that said, we appreciate everybody who's sat here and listened to us ramble on about shit for hours. But we'll
Yeah.
see you guys in the next one for the free
Appreciate it. Thank you
agency,
guys.
and we'll talk about the free agency aspect and the playoffs to start. That's like the first round and all the playoffs
Yeah.
and all that. So we'll see you in the next one, guys. Thank you.